Sudanese police on Thursday fired tear gas to break up hundreds of protesters marching towards the presidential palace in Khartoum. The demonstrations, which are demanding President Omar al-Bashir's resignation, have spread to other cities and towns. Now, the Sudan Doctors Committee, a group linked to the opposition, said a doctor and a child were killed by gunshot and had gunshot wounds to head during the violence.
The Sudanese Professionals Association has said in a statement that the deaths were also confirmed by the relatives of the two victims after protesters tried to march to the presidential palace demanding the resignation of President Omar al-Bashir. Officials say at least 24 people have died since the protests began last December, but human rights group Amnesty International has said that more than 40 people had been killed and more than 1,000 arrested. Just like before, protesters who took to the streets Thursday chanting freedom, peace and justice had gathered in central Khartoum and began their march, but rout police quickly confronted them with tear gas. Hundreds also gathered in the streets of the Red Sea city of Port Sudan, in the provincial town of Gadaref and in the agricultural hub of Atbara, where the first protests broke out on December 19th after the government tripled bread prices. The protests have since escalated into broader demonstrations against Bashir's 3 decades of iron-fisted rule that have triggered deadly clashes with the security forces. After out police broke up the march in downtown Khartoum, crowds in the capital's Buri district staged a new rally, witnesses have said. Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir has blamed the violence during the demonstrations on conspirators working against the interests of the country without identifying them. Despite the crackdown, the movement has grown to become the biggest threat to Bashir's rule since he took power in an Islamist-backed military coup in 1989. The protesters accused Bashir's government of mismanagement of key sectors of the economy and of pouring funds into a military response Sudan can ill afford to rebellions in the western region of Darfur and in areas near the border with South Sudan.